Well, there's no doubt that green walls are the most talked about thing in gardening and landscaping today. Now, you may well ask, what is a green wall? The simplest way to think about it is that it's a traditional horizontal garden given some high-tech help to go vertical. What a green wall means to you is that you can put a garden into a space where you previously may have only been able to have a single pot plant. So in a narrow passageway down the side of the house, a small balcony, a courtyard, you can stack it up and have an entire wall of plants. Best part is they're really easy to assemble. You don't need to build something from scratch yourself because there's kits available that you just simply clip together and fill up with plants. Now, a green wall kit does not get any easier than this. A front panel, a back panel, 4 side and top panels, and the all-important liner. Think of it like a big sock. It just slips into your assembled module. Then you fill it with your potting mix, pop your plants through the front, and off you go. So let's clip it all together and start building our green wall. If you've ever played with Lego, you'll have no trouble with this kit. Just make sure you've got all the right pieces correctly aligned before you click them together. Once you've got the front and rear and 2 side and the bottom panels clipped together, slip your liner in. Make sure it's pushed well into the corners. Well, it's nearly time to plant out our green wall modules, but we've got to create a special potting mix first. I'm going to blend a 50-50 of quality potting mix and orchid bark. Now, if you're going to use a bark, make sure it's a composted orchid bark. The reason I'm doing this is it makes the whole mix a little bit lighter, and it makes sure I've got really good drainage, because the plants I'm using are ones that are going to need good drainage. If you're hanging the modules on a wall, which you can do, instead of using the orchid bark, create a mix of polystyrene balls and vermiculite and mix that 50-50 with a quality potting mix. That'll make it really nice and light, but it will still hold on to moisture as well. So I'm going to slip the gloves on and blend this up. I've finished blending my mix through now. I used 2 bags of quality potting mix and 1 bag of orchid bark. We can start filling one of our modules up. We're going to do it bit by bit. Now, don't you laugh at my tiny little shovel. It's perfect for jobs like this where you need a good scoop, but you don't want a long-handled tool. I've only part filled my module before I'm punching holes through the fabric. It's because I'm using larger plants, so it's easier to plant and fill progressively. If you're using small plants like seedlings, you'd fill all the way to the top before you punched your holes and planted. Gently remove most of the soil from the root ball of your plants. Then push them through the hole you've cut in the fabric in the front of your module. You may need to get your hand inside to pull the root ball through. Once you finish planting that level, bring your module back upright, fill with more mix, and repeat the process until you're done. To allow the roots to establish, you should leave your green wall module laying down flat for about a month. I'm going to use mine straight away, however, so what I've done is temporarily wired the plants in place. I can take this wire off once it grows. Now, once you're putting your modules into position, make sure they're properly aligned. I've stacked mine up, but you could easily use these modules side by side, and you'll notice I've left the top panel off my top module. To make sure my 2 modules stay together, I'm just going to use some cable ties, slip them through from one to the other, pull tight, and just snip the tail off. Now I'm going to plant out the top hole. First a philodendron xanadu, and then a couple of syngoniums on either side. They'll cascade down eventually. But what about the rest of my planting? Well, lovely dianellas in the top, lush bird's nest fern halfway down, beautiful colourful bromeliads down the bottom, then all the gaps are filled with dainty native violet. They'll gently tumble down the face of the modules.